your host, Marsha Florence, for Just Ask. Today we have with us the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute. Hurry back and join us. Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today we have with us the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute. Hurry back and join us. Hi, I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. Today we have with us the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute. Our guests is Prentice Parker, Bernard Causey, and Susan Weinberg. Hi, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi
there.
Good evening.
Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Good. Now, I want to start off with, I know this is the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute, but we have a special project. So, Bernard, you want to tell us what the project is today we're talking about?
We're here to discuss the Prostate Health Awareness Project. And basically what it is a community outreach program designed to educate the community, specifically African-American men, about the issues surrounding prostate cancer, prostate health, and testing issues.
Okay. Okay. Now, so your job is to go out into the community and
identify program sites, identify volunteers to be trained, to come in and be trained, and to also go out and not only identify program sites, but to speak about these, or to present our slide presentation to community groups, local organizations, businesses, and things of such.
Okay. Susan, can you give us a little history on the Barbara Ann Karmanos Institute?
Sure. The Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute is one of the nation's leading cancer centers for cancer research, cancer treatment, cancer education for the lay public and the medical community, and also community outreach, which I'll go into a little more depth in a moment. Okay. We're also affiliated with Wayne State University and the Detroit Medical Center, and we're funded a little bit by some of the local United Ways. But when I was talking about outreach, which is near and dear to our hearts, not the research and the treatment is not, but our outreach program is involved with Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, Monroe, and Washtenaw counties. And we have 17 offices that cover all of these county areas. And these offices are open most 5 days a week, some 3 days a week, depending on volunteer involvement. And that brings up another topic. These offices are all staffed, if you will, by volunteers.
Okay. Well, let me back up a little bit. Now,
sure.
What is your title?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm the Director for Health Education for the Karmanos Cancer Institute.
Okay.
And I've got the pleasure of working with all the regional offices and many of the volunteers in the health education arena.
Okay. Now, does each regional office do something slightly different, or are all of them about the same?
They do pretty much the same things. They all offer the same type of educational programs. They all offer the same services to the community as far as anything that cancer patients may need. We can address those issues. Okay. As far as research goes, we certainly promote what Karmanos does research-wise at all our programs and through our regional offices.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't want to leave Prentice out here because I was just going around the room a little bit. But Prentice, can you tell me, how did you become involved with Karmanos?
Well, I became involved. I just felt that after reading so much about cancer and prostate cancer and how little knowledge we had publicly about this particular type of cancer, I felt that it was prudent and timely that I get involved and help spread the information, help educate particularly men about prostate cancer, and hopefully have them live a more productive life after having gained this knowledge.
Okay, so your role at the Institute is what, a volunteer?
I'm a volunteer
Okay.
speaker. Usually Bernard will schedule the events or the speaking engagement. I'm the person that you'll see come out to the site, do the presentation, and we do take questions from the floor. We answer most of them, but if there are questions that we can't answer, we also usually get back to the questioners with our appropriate answers. We don't know it all, but we know quite a bit, and what we don't know, we can do some research and get the answers for you.
Okay. So what is a day like for a presentation? Can you give me an idea of what a day is like for the presentation?
Well, sure. Generally, the host or the site that requests a program will, have a specific time in mind where the volunteer will show up approximately half an hour prior to the actual presentation time. It's a simple slide presentation, so it's not much setup. What was it in here?
Well, no. Let me ask you now. When a company does a company normally request your presence to come out and do this, or how does one go about contacting you?
It works both ways. So they can call us, of course, at the 1-800-Karmanos telephone number.
Okay.
But it works both ways. Sometimes I make the contacts, or our volunteers make the contacts, or the community at large are made aware of our program and they call us.
So what is the response rate, basically? What percentage would you say actually do you get to pull in?
Well, I'd say, I think it's a more 70%,
Okay.
Effort on our part, and 30%,
Okay. Okay. So you would call a company, say like we'll use Ford Motor Company or something like that.
Sure.
Okay. You call them.
We really want Ford too.
Okay. We'll call their headquarters, and you'll speak to what, their PR person, human service director.
Basically, when we deal with the big three, because we're with Chrysler right now, Archland Franklin, who is the director of health education in Detroit, she deals with Chrysler, and we deal with the locals. And a lot of times they have their own health education support staff or whatever, and that they are responsible for providing health education issues or information for the whole entire employee. So we would deal directly with that person most times.
Okay.
And then that person will schedule it. Like, for instance, I did Edison, and that person was able to set up other programs throughout, the other sites. So.
Okay. Now, if you use, you said, for example, the big three, if you use them as one of your sites, do they have their employees come in? I mean, how do they get their employees to actually sit still to actually hear this particular, service that's out here?
If you feed them, they will come.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much they
Okay.
have a light snack or something. For instance, where was that? We did Mishcon
Right.
one morning, early morning, and they provided a light breakfast for them. And, it all depends. It varies. Sometimes they just, require them to sit there for a half hour, and sometimes they leave it up to them. It depends on.
Okay. Is there scheduling limitations?
For us, no. The program is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay.
So we'll go anywhere, and we try not to turn down any program. If it's
Okay.
early in the morning or late at night, weekends, whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's
Because I'm
important.
saying if you got the big three, you got swing shifts and things like that.
Exactly.
You got people, hospital personnel, whatever, some type of agency that has another shift. How would they get a chance to become familiar? That's pretty good. So the volunteers can go out,
Bernard usually contacts me a day or two in advance of a scheduled event. I basically just fit it into my time schedule and see if we can do it. And as he indicated, sometimes it's after hours, during normal business hours, or whenever. We try to accommodate the client as much as we can with the time that we have.
Okay. Now, Susan, let me ask you, in your day-to-day contact with people, do you find it sometimes overwhelming to know that, you're being pulled this way and that way, and you've got all these projects under one umbrella? I mean, how do you, kind of break it down? Because you've got one project here. So can you give me some of the projects that Karmanos handles?
Well, when you're involved with Karmanos, you learn to juggle, to be very honest, because there are a lot of requests coming from all over the place, not just for health education, but patient needs. Now, my function is within the health education arena, like I said, so many times I'll get phone calls from companies who say, we want some kind of an educational program, what do you think we need? And they don't know. And that gives me an opportunity to tell them the type of programs that Karmanos has, and try to find out a little bit about their employees, have they had any particular kind of questions, anything like that, try to draw something out from them so I can work well as far as telling them, as I said, what kind of programs we have. Do they have a specific request for perhaps a program or information we don't already have in the can, if you will? Because Karmanos is so expansive and we have so much medical expertise that I can identify a speaker to go out and speak for that group. So it can be a time-consuming effort, but when you go out, you present a program and you've taught people things and you've told them where they can go if they need help, if they're a cancer patient or they have a cancer patient in their family or a friend, it's worth all the effort.
Okay. Now, do you find most people are in fear of knowing the truth about cancer? Right.
Absolutely. Cancer has always been like a death sentence. You know? And we have found out that you can really fight cancer with knowledge, which is why the educational part of Karmanos is so wonderful. If we can break down some of the misinformation barriers, that can help. So this kind of program that Bernard's got and the apprentices involved with can help get rid of the mystique about cancer and prostate cancer or breast cancer or whatever type, and let them know that here's the real knowledge that you need to have, that you need to make informed decisions, that you need to talk to your doctor and become your best health advocate for yourself. That if you have questions and you can't reach your doctor, we do have a 1-800-Karmanos number or 1-800-527-6266. People can call that. We've got cancer information specialists. So it's not as though if we're doing a program, like Prentice was saying, people may ask our speakers a question, and if it's a medical question, we're not medical experts, and we make that very clear, but we at least are able to tell them we do have a number you can call if you can't reach your own physician and get an answer. Because the worst thing is, somebody asks us a question at a program and they don't get an answer, and they're stopped right there. And we try very hard not to do that. We want to become the conduit from no knowledge to knowledge, and that's what we like to do with the programs.
And basically, that's the thrust of this prostate health awareness program. I mean, we would like to, I mean, our thing is to help men make informed decisions about prostate testing. You know, we're not trying to tell you to get tested. What we are is helping you to make an informed decision. We want to arm you with the knowledge so that you can discuss, you know, with your doctor what you should do.
Okay. Because I figure that men are more fearful of going to the physicians than women are, more or less. You know, do you find that?
I find that to be true, but I also find that men are more open when they're dealing with another man on a subject matter that's common to them.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons, that's one of the big rewards that I get from doing a presentation. I actually we get right down nitty-gritty and we ask the straightforward questions. We don't hold back on any information. And most of the guys that I've done presentations for really show that they appreciate it. And you know, that's my biggest reward from talking to them.
Right. I think that is the good part mostly, because if a person can actually meet a person face to face or ask questions without being hesitant, nervous, or shy about it, then they're more apt to get the response they've been looking for a long time, or, you know, it relieves some of the pressure off of saying, wow, all this time. You know, the average question or response is, all this time I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And that's what we hear all the time on Just Ask. I didn't know that. Well, it's programs like this and programs like yourselves that, you know, enlighten people to make them more aware of what's going on in their community or what's going on in their health, you know, and things like that.
If I may add too, Marcia, men, and I'm one of them, we're rather reluctant to take the time out and go to the doctors and get our annual physicals and checkups. Women in our environment have a much better record for those kinds of things than we have. So if you're not going to, you know, if we're not going to be going to the doctor, Karmanos says we'll bring it to you. That's why we bring it to the site and bring it in your environment where you're comfortable and where you can really get down and talk one-on-one.
That's good.
The one thing I do want to point out is not to discount the women. I mean, you know, it's really, no, really, you know, there is some sort of identification, you know, man on man, but women have been known to be very instrumental in disseminating information. And in fact, this program was run by a woman before I came, you know, before I came to women, you know. Archie and Franklin and Susan Weinberg were out, hitting the trails and doing the presentations. But we'd like to appeal to the woman because you guys are very instrumental, like I said, in not only disseminating information, but also convincing men to go to the doctor.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break and come back with just that very note.
Right.
We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back to the second half of the show. For those of you who are just now joining us, we have the Barbara Ann Karmanos Cancer Institute, and we're in the middle of talking about some very important information about the male prostate glands, okay? Now, Bernard, I want to ask you, I see that you brought a chart along with you, and want to give us some information on this chart and, how you go about your presentation?
Sure. Well, in the presentation, we talk about the physiology of the prostate gland, and what this represents is the male reproductive system. And the prostate gland, for all of you who do not know, is this dark area right here. It's like a walnut-shaped gland, which is loosely attached to the bottom of the bladder. It surrounds the urethra tube, which is the tube responsible for taking urine out of the body.
Okay. Okay, so when you go out on the presentation, you actually have this chart with you, right?
I have a slide. Yeah, we do a slide presentation.
Okay.
So it's a slide that outlines that whole thing.
Okay. So do the men actually, ask questions in reference to it?
Oh,
And,
definitely. I mean, a lot of men, they're not even familiar with the fact that they actually have a prostate gland. And
Okay.
so the physiology discussion is very, very interesting, I think,
Okay,
for
so
them.
this helps them out.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have benign prostate, what's the word here?
Hyperplasia. Benign prostate hyperplasia is a condition of the prostate gland. It's an enlargement of the prostate gland is what it is. And that's just really a big fancy word for it. Benign prostate hyperplasia. Benign, of course, indicating that it is non-cancerous.
Okay.
But it does come with some symptoms that could be uncomfortable, such as difficulty starting or stopping urination. Okay, that's a symptom of it. The weak urine flow, which is a weak or dribbling stream. The incomplete emptying of one's bladder. And frequent urination, especially at night after going to bed. Now, that prostate gland I just showed you, I said that it surrounded the urethra tube, correct? And what happens is when it enlarges, it pinches that urethra tube, sort of like pinching a straw. If you ever tried to pinch a straw and suck fluid out, it's a little difficult. Same concept. And so these are some of the symptoms that are caused by that enlargement of the prostate gland.
Okay. Okay. Well, when you was reading it, I was thinking to myself, some of it sounds just like, you just refuse to get up and go to the bathroom. But I know that's not it.
No.
So
no.
When you have those symptoms, it could be day or night. It could be at any given time.
Right. Well, yeah. Most men don't really think about it. If you can't write your name in the snow anymore, well, they probably it's a gradual thing for them, so they really don't think about it. But if you really take out time to think about whether or not you just stand there and think about it for a while, or perhaps turn some water on to get it going, that would probably be...
Is there an age criteria where men should actually get checked out, or?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of controversy about that right now, but officially Karmanos recommends that men who are in high-risk groups, which would include African-American men with a family history of prostate cancer, to go as early as age 45. All other men to go or at least start talking to their doctors about it at age 50.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, we had to be something along that line.
Sure.
Now, here you have possible warning signs of the prostate cancer.
Yeah, and I want to caution, and that's why I highlighted the word and underlined the word possible, because prostate cancer can be present without any warning signs at all. Okay, and usually at this stage it's not a good thing. But if you were to experience some warning signs, it could be frequent urination, especially at night. It could be the difficulty starting and stopping urination. A lot of these are similar to the BPH
Right.
symptoms. Weak or dribbling stream, the inability to urinate at all, pain or burning sensation when urinating, as well as blood in the urine or semen. Now, the thing about the reason why we try to get men to discuss these things with their doctor is because only truly a trained medical professional can distinguish the difference between BPH and prostate cancer.
Okay. But when a man goes in to see his physician, he doesn't know that there's a difference between BPH and prostate,
No,
right?
no.
So once he sees his physician, that eliminates the confusion between the two possibilities of having one or the other.
Exactly, and then we just want men to be aware that just because you are experiencing, one of these symptoms is not necessarily a reason to panic necessarily, but it is, one reason why going to your doctor makes good sense.
Well, let me ask you this now. When you say blood in the semen,
Yeah.
more likely men may experience that, and that may cause them to go to the physician faster than just not going to urinate, right? Or
Probably. I mean, well, if you can't urinate at all, you probably
Right.
going to have to do something.
You're gonna have to go.
But yeah, I mean, you're going to. But if, the weak urine flow, a lot of men, like I said, don't notice that. But yeah, if you see blood coming out,
Okay.
that'll send you to the doctor.
I think
One
so.
would hope, anyway.
I think so. But, like I said, if you're in fear, you're not going to go, blood, urine, whatever. You're not going. I mean, it's almost like a force. I think men are more under force to go than they are if they were just to gradually say, it's time to go get a checkup. Women, and I say this openly, that women will go at the drop of a pen.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say all women, but majority of women, a high percentage of women say, oh, this doesn't feel right. This is unusual.
Right.
I need to go to the
They're more in
doctor.
tune. You're right. You're
Right,
more in
and
tune
we
with
have
that.
more reasons to feel that, we have to get this, that, and the other checked out. Even if it's nothing there, you still want to know. But a man doesn't even feel like if it's nothing there, he wants to know.
If it's not broke, don't worry about
Right,
it.
right.
And so, but we're really, more and more though, a lot of men, and what we're finding with going out and talking to men, they are becoming more and more concerned about their health and more active in their healthcare decisions.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the message we're trying to spread.
Okay, now this number you have right here, this 1-800-Karmanos number, is this also the number if you're interested in being a volunteer, or that's if you basically want to get an appointment to...
You can call that number for anything you need from us. If you want cancer information, if you would like to speak to one of the regional offices, they can connect you. If you have any questions regarding your health, anything. 1-800-Karmanos, it covers it all.
Okay, now for our visually impaired audience, would you please say that number aloud?
It's 1-800-Karmanos or 1-800-527-6266.
Okay, now let me ask you this, this book right here, Volunteer Opportunity. This is a nice booklet here. So Sue or Prentice, either one of you want to answer this. If a person wants to become a volunteer, do they get this booklet to find out what the procedures are and what information?
Okay, well, if you decide to become a volunteer, there is a preliminary training program cycle that you go through so that you know the information well enough to discuss it publicly, make sure that you're comfortable with it so you can relay it to the general public that you're speaking to. Bernard happens to be one of the trainers, and in fact, he trained me when I became a volunteer, and he just really made sure that I knew the information well enough and knew how to present it, as well as, being able to present it timely.
Okay.
Marcia, in
That's good.
addition, that's a brand new pamphlet that's just been designed, and it contains information not just on being a volunteer for the prostate program, but there are numerous volunteer opportunities through the Karmanos Cancer Institute, from doing data entry to being a speaker to, golly gosh, just doing pretty much anything. And so that booklet contains numerous lists of what somebody might want to be involved with. So if they're interested, they call that 1-800 number. They're going to get a copy of that brochure, and there's a form in the back that they can fill out and send it in to us, and we will place the person within the regional area that's closest to where they live and try to connect them with something they want to do.
Okay, now I see you have a map in here also.
You bet. It lists all the regional offices that we have, all the hospitals that we are affiliated with, so
Okay.
people know where Karmanos is.
Okay, so you have the map, and you have the ability to place a person near their home, or
Right.
Okay, now that's a plus. This is a real nice booklet. So someone can actually call and request this booklet, or
You
get
bet.
this
It'll go
booklet in
out
the
to
mail?
them the same day they request it. And we'll be together shortly as volunteer in Karmanos.
Okay, okay, okay.
Marcia, I might add also, if I may, it doesn't matter how much time you have to contribute. If you've got some hours, a few hours, or a lot of hours, or days, evenings, just whatever time you have to contribute, I'm sure we can find a spot on the schedule for you.
Yeah,
bet.
Okay.
definitely.
Well, you three give a very warm feeling to the Cancer Institute, I'm sure, because I enjoy having you here, and all the literature that you have, we'll definitely post some of the literature up, the facts, just the facts, what every man should know about prostate cancer. Okay, that's a good sheet. So this is one of the sheets that you pass out.
Yes.
When you're out and
When we
about.
do the
Because I was going to ask you, when you're out and people don't feel like they have time to talk, you just give them a packet? And,
Yeah, we give
okay.
them a packet of information
Okay.
if they can't stay for the program, sure.
Okay. Yeah, because I can imagine some people like, oh, I really don't want to know, but they could take the information home and
Exactly,
read it
share it with their
themselves.
people. And we also, in every presentation, not only give, if it's a prostate program, we also give information about other cancers, breast and testicular, so that they can share it with their loved ones as well.
Okay.
Because it's something that we all need to be discussing.
You're so right. Okay. Yeah, one more quick question. Now, I noticed you three talked about the breast cancer, touched on that a little bit, and Susan, we're looking forward to doing a show with you on that, and the prostate. What is the other kind of cancers? Is there leukemia part of that and other things like that? Or?
Leukemia is part of it. Testicular cancer is something.
What is
testicular is cancer of the testicle.
Okay.
And young men about the age of 18, 19 through about the age of 38, 39 are at a higher risk if they have been born with an undescended testicle or that has not been repaired by about the age of 6. They become at a higher risk. This is not a cancer that cannot be cured. It can be cured, but it needs to be found. We do have programs on teaching men how to do testicular self-examination, just as we have a program to teach women how to do breast self-examination.
Okay.
We have programs on skin cancer. We have programs on nutrition, numerous topics that we can provide a program on.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, you three, you gave us some very important information here, and I know our listening and viewing audience is very much pleased with it, and I look forward to having you back. Prentice, I definitely have to say that by you being a volunteer, you just, enlighten us what volunteers can do and what they can be involved in, and I'm sure we'll get some responses from our listening and viewing audience about contacting the volunteer line.
Certainly.
Okay? Because anytime you have time to take out, whether it's tutoring children, whether it's speaking to individuals or caring for an elderly one or a person with a disability, it's always a plus, and it makes you feel good inside.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you very much for coming. And Bernard, glad to see you.
Likewise.
And Susan Weinberg, we look forward to seeing you again.
Soon.
Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anytime you want to come back, please do so.
Thank
You
you.
bet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am. I'm your host, Marsha Florence for Just Ask. And as I always say, if you know someone with a disability, don't be afraid to ask. Just ask. I'm your host, Marsha Florence. Thank you.
Hey, son, ever think how life surprises you?
All the time, Dad. And who would have thought I'd be an actor? And who would have thought you'd have a kidney failure and have to go to dialysis? It's because of what's happened to you that I learned about the National Kidney Foundation and how 250,000 Americans need dialysis to stay alive, and how donating your used car or boat or a truck or even real estate gives hope to 20 millions who suffer from kidney disease. Kidney cards that save life and give hope.
Hello?
Hi, honey. What are you doing?
Doing homework with my friends. Aren't I supposed to?
Just called to say hi, that's all.
Hi? That's all?
Yep.
Dad, that's so cool.
But hey, coolness runs in our family.
Well, I was thinking that I need my allowance a little early.
What a coincidence. I need someone to clean the garage for me.
Really?
Family.
I'll see you tonight, Dad.
Isn't it about
All right.
time?
I love you.
I love you too, Dad.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.